The red sand of Kepler 442b crunched under Jake Morrison's boots as he walked toward the strange building. The young lieutenant had been exploring planets for 3 years, but he had never seen anything like this. The structure was made of smooth, black metal that seemed to bend light around it. It looked like someone had dropped a giant egg on the planet's surface. "Lisa, are you getting any readings on this thing?" Jake asked into his radio. Lisa Park looked at her scanner and shook her head. She was the team's communication specialist, and her job was to find any signs of alien technology. "It's definitely not human-made," she said. "The energy signatures are completely different from anything we've built." The building sat alone in a valley between 2 small mountains. There were no roads leading to it, no other structures nearby. It looked like it had been abandoned for a long time. The surface was covered with a thin layer of dust, but underneath, the metal still gleamed. Jake's team had been sent to explore this planet because their long-range sensors had detected artificial structures. Nobody expected to find actual alien buildings. Most planets they visited had rocks, maybe some old ruins, but nothing this advanced. "Should we call for backup?" asked Tom Wilson, the team's security officer. He was nervous and kept checking his weapon. Tom had read too many reports about dangerous alien encounters. "Not yet," Jake replied. "Let's see what we're dealing with first." They walked around the building, looking for an entrance. The structure was about the size of a small warehouse, with no windows and no obvious doors. Lisa ran her hands along the smooth walls, searching for any kind of opening mechanism. "Wait," she said suddenly. "I'm getting something here." A section of the wall began to glow with soft blue light. The metal seemed to melt away, creating a doorway just big enough for a person to walk through. The team looked at each other. This was definitely alien technology. Jake took a deep breath. "Stay close and keep your eyes open," he told his team. Inside, the building was much larger than it appeared from outside. The walls curved upward into darkness, and the floor was covered with strange devices that hummed quietly. Lights flickered on as they entered, revealing rows of what looked like computer terminals. "This is incredible," whispered Lisa. She approached one of the terminals. The screen showed symbols that looked like nothing she had ever seen. "These aren't just computers. They're some kind of advanced data storage system." The air inside was breathable but smelled strange, like metal and electricity. Everything was clean and organized, as if someone had just stepped out for a moment. But the dust on the outside suggested the building had been empty for months, maybe years. Jake walked deeper into the facility. In the center of the room stood a large circular platform surrounded by more equipment. Above it, a holographic display flickered with images that made no sense to him. Strange shapes moved across the screen, changing colors and patterns. "Lieutenant Morrison," Lisa called out. "You need to see this." She was standing in front of a wall covered with screens. Each screen showed different images, but Jake could recognize some of them. There were pictures of Earth, human cities, and people. But how could aliens have pictures of Earth? "These are human images," Lisa said, her voice filled with excitement and worry. "But look at how they're organized." The screens were arranged in groups. One group showed pictures of human technology, cars, planes, computers. Another showed human activities, people working, playing sports, eating. But the largest group showed something that surprised Jake completely. "Are those ... performances?" he asked. The screens showed humans making music. There were images of people playing guitars, singing, dancing. Some showed large concerts with thousands of people. Others showed street performers playing for small crowds. One screen showed a young girl playing violin on a city street while people dropped coins into a case at her feet. Lisa touched one of the screens, and it expanded to fill the entire wall. Now they could see the image clearly. It was a video of a girl playing violin. She was performing a song that sounded familiar, but Jake couldn't place it. The music was lively and made him want to move his feet. "The aliens have been watching us," Lisa said quietly. "They've been recording our music." Tom Wilson joined them, staring at the wall of screens. "Why would aliens care about human music?" he asked. Lisa began working on the alien computer system. Her fingers moved quickly over the strange controls. She had always been good with technology, even alien technology. After a few minutes, she managed to access some of the stored files. "There are thousands of recordings here," she said. "Radio, broadcasts, television shows, internet videos. They've been collecting human media for years." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. How long have they been watching us? Lisa checked the dates on the files. The alien symbols were hard to read, but her computer was slowly learning to translate them. Based on these timestamps, at least 20 years. Maybe longer. The team spent the next hour exploring the facility. They found rooms filled with more equipment, laboratories with strange instruments, and storage areas packed with data drives. Everything seemed designed to study and analyze human culture, but the most interesting discovery was in a room at the back of the building. Lisa found a computer terminal that was still active. The screen showed a complex analysis of human behavior, focusing specifically on something the aliens called acoustic manipulation patterns. "They think our music is some kind of weapon," Lisa said, reading the alien text as her computer translated. They've been trying to understand how humans use sound to affect emotions." Jake looked at the data on the screen. The aliens had charts showing human heart rates during different types of music, brain scans of people listening to songs, and detailed analyses of how crowds reacted to live performances. They had studied every aspect of human musical expression. "They don't understand that we make music because we enjoy it," Jake realized. "They think we're using it to control each other." As they prepared to leave the facility, Lisa downloaded as much data as she could carry. The information would be valuable to the scientists back on Earth, but Jake couldn't shake the feeling that they had discovered something important, something that could change everything. Outside, the red sun was setting over the alien landscape. The team made their way back to their ship, each lost in their own thoughts about what they had found. They had come to explore an empty planet, and instead discovered that humanity had been under observation for decades. As they reached their ship, Jake looked back at the strange black building. Somewhere out there, aliens were watching humanity and trying to understand their music. The question was, what did they plan to do with that knowledge? Jake Morrison sat in his ship's command chair, staring at the data Lisa Park had collected from the alien facility. 3 days had passed since their discovery, and the more they learned about the alien research, the more worried he became. The ship's computer had been working around the clock to translate the alien files, and what they found was disturbing. "Lieutenant, you need to see this," Lisa called from her workstation. She had been analyzing the alien documents since they returned to the ship. Dark circles under her eyes showed she hadn't slept much. Jake walked over to her station. On the screen was a detailed report written in alien symbols, with the computer's translation scrolling beside it. The title made his blood run cold. Human. Acoustic warfare capabilities. Threat assessment level. Critical. "They think we're using music as a weapon," Lisa explained. "According to this report, they believe humans have developed the most advanced form of psychological warfare in the galaxy." Tom Wilson joined them, reading over Jake's shoulder. "Psychological warfare? From music?" Lisa nodded and pulled up more files. "Look at this. They've been studying human reactions to different types of music for years. They documented how fast music makes humans move quicker, how slow music makes them relaxed, how sad music makes them cry." The alien report was full of scientific observations about human behavior during musical experiences. The aliens had recorded heart rates, brain waves, and hormone levels of humans listening to various songs. To them, these changes proved that music was a form of mind control. They call it emotional manipulation through sonic frequencies, Lisa continued. They think we use music to make people do what we want. Jake shook his head in disbelief. They don't understand that people choose to listen to music because it makes them feel good. That's not the worst part, Lisa said. She opened another file. They've identified what they call mass manipulation events. These are concerts and festivals where thousands of humans gather to experience music together. The alien report showed aerial photographs of music festivals with detailed analysis of crowd behavior. The aliens had observed how audiences moved together during songs, how they cheered and sang along, how they seemed to act as one large group. To the logical alien minds, this looked like proof of human mind control abilities. They think concerts are military training exercises, Tom said, reading the alien text. They believe we're teaching humans to follow commands through music. Lisa pulled up video footage the aliens had collected. It showed a rock concert where thousands of people were jumping and dancing to the same beat. The alien analysis noted how the commander on stage could make the entire crowd raise their hands, cheer, or move in unison with simple gestures. From their perspective, it does look like mind control, Jake admitted. They don't understand that people are having fun. The team spent hours going through the alien research. The aliens had studied every type of human music they could find. Classical music puzzled them because it seemed to make humans sit still and quiet, which they interpreted as a pacification technique. Rock music frightened them because it made humans energetic and excited, which they saw as aggressive conditioning. But the aliens were most concerned about what they called street-level acoustic agents. These were street performers and buskers who played music in public places. The aliens had observed how these performers could make strangers stop walking, gather in crowds, and even give them money. To the alien researchers, this was clear evidence of localized mind control operations. They have an entire section about violin players, Lisa said, opening another file. They think violins are particularly dangerous weapons because of their emotional impact on humans. The alien research included detailed studies of violin music. They had recorded how violin solos could make humans cry during movies, how violin performances could make people feel romantic, how fast violin music could make people dance. The aliens concluded that violins were precision emotional manipulation devices. Jake found a video file that made him pause. It showed a young girl playing violin on a street corner. People were stopping to listen, smiling, dropping money in. Her case. The alien analysis described her as a juvenile acoustic warfare specialist conducting field training exercises. This is insane, Tom muttered. They think a kid playing music is some kind of soldier. Lisa discovered that the aliens had a name for themselves, the Zenthran Collective. According to their research notes, the Zenthrans were a highly logical species that had eliminated emotions from their society thousands of years ago. They viewed emotions as inefficient and dangerous, which explained why human emotional responses to music seemed so threatening to them. No wonder they don't understand music, Jake said. If they don't feel emotions, they can't understand why we would want to create or listen to something that affects our emotions. The Zenthran research showed they had been preparing for what they called the human emotional assault. They had developed technologies to block sound waves, trained their military to resist acoustic manipulation, and created psychological defenses against emotional responses. They were getting ready for war against an enemy that didn't even know they existed. Lieutenant, Lisa said, her voice tense. There's something else. According to these files, they have a research ship that was supposed to return to this facility. Last month, Jake felt his stomach drop. Are they coming back? Lisa checked the alien scheduling system. Yes, the ship is called the Analytical Purpose, and it's carrying a full research team. They're coming to collect their data and prepare the next phase of their study. Tom grabbed his weapon. How long do we have? Lisa worked frantically at her computer, trying to calculate the alien ship's arrival time. Based on their navigation logs, maybe 2 days, maybe less. Jake made a quick decision. Pack everything up. We need to get this information back to Earth Command immediately. But as they prepared to leave, Lisa made one more discovery that changed everything. She found the aliens' ultimate plan buried deep in their research files. The Zentrans weren't just studying human music to understand it. They were planning to use that knowledge to develop counter-weapons. They're building sonic devices to neutralize human acoustic warfare, Lisa explained. They want to create sound waves that will prevent humans from enjoying music. They think if they can stop us from using music as a weapon, they can defeat us easily. Jake stared at the alien plans. The Zentrans were preparing to take away humanity's ability to enjoy music, not realizing they would be destroying one of the most beautiful parts of human culture. The aliens thought they were protecting themselves from a weapon, but they were actually planning to commit cultural genocide. As the team finished packing their equipment, Jake looked out at the alien facility one last time. Somewhere in space, a ship full of logical, emotionless beings was heading toward them, convinced that humanity was their greatest threat. The irony was terrible. The aliens feared humans because of their capacity for emotion and beauty, the very things that made humanity worth protecting. We need to warn Earth, Jake said, and we need to find a way to make these aliens understand that music isn't a weapon. It's a gift. The alien ship appeared in the sky like a dark cloud against the orange sunset. Jake Morrison watched through his ship's window as the massive vessel descended toward the research facility. It was 3 times larger than his exploration ship, and made no sound as it moved through the air. The hull was the same black metal as the research station, bending light around it in strange ways. They're here, Lisa Park announced from her communication station. I'm picking up their transmission signals. Jake had spent the last day preparing for this moment. Instead of running back to Earth with the information they had found, he made a decision that surprised his crew. They would stay and try to make contact with the Zentrans. Someone had to explain the truth about human music before the aliens declared war on humanity. Are you sure about this, Lieutenant? Tom Wilson asked nervously. He had his hand on his weapon, but Jake had ordered him not to draw it unless absolutely necessary. We have to try, Jake replied. If we run now, they'll think we're guilty of everything they believe about us. Captain Helen Garcia's voice came through the radio from Earth Command. She had arrived in the system just hours ago with a small diplomatic ship after receiving Jake's emergency report. Her ship was hidden behind one of the planet's moons, ready to help if things went wrong. Morrison, are you receiving their communications? Helen asked through the radio. Lisa worked at her station, trying to decode the alien signals. They're using the same frequency as their research computers. I think I can establish a connection. The alien ship landed near their research facility. With perfect precision, a door opened in its side and several figures emerged. Through his binoculars, Jake could see they were tall and thin, wearing gray uniforms that covered their entire bodies. They moved in perfect formation, like soldiers. I'm getting a signal, Lisa announced. They're trying to communicate with us. The ship's main screen flickered to life, showing the image of an alien face. The Zentran had large dark eyes, pale gray skin, and no visible mouth. When it spoke, the words appeared as text on the screen, while a mechanical voice translated them into English. Unknown human vessel. You are trespassing on Zentran research property. Explain your presence immediately. Jake took a deep breath and stepped in front of the communication screen. This is Lieutenant Jake Morrison of the Earth Space Exploration Service. We discovered your facility during a routine planetary survey. We come in peace. The alien's large eyes stared at him without blinking. Human acoustic warfare specialists are not peaceful. Our research indicates you are here to test new sonic weapons against our facility. We're not here to fight, Jake. Explained, we're explorers. We were studying this planet when we found your research station. Impossible, the alien replied. Humans do not explore. Humans conquer through emotional manipulation. Our data shows conclusive evidence of your species' acoustic warfare capabilities. Lisa whispered to Jake, They really believe we're some kind of warrior race. Jake tried a different approach. We read your research files. We know you've been studying human music. But there's been a misunderstanding. Music isn't a weapon. It's art. The alien's expression didn't change. Define. Art. Jake paused. How do you explain art to a being that doesn't understand emotions? Art is something humans create to express feelings and beauty. Music makes us happy. We don't use it to control other people. Incorrect, the alien stated. Our observations show humans use acoustic frequencies to manipulate emotional states in large groups. This is clearly warfare technology. Dr. Nathan Brooks, who had been listening quietly, stepped forward. He was the team scientist and had been studying the alien research data. May I ask you something? Do your people experience emotions? Emotions are inefficient, the alien replied. The Zenthran Collective eliminated emotional responses from our species 3,847 years ago. Emotions cause poor decision-making and social chaos. That explains everything, Nathan said to Jake quietly. They can't understand music because they can't feel what it's supposed to make you feel. Captain Helen Garcia's voice came through the radio again. Morrison, I'm monitoring your conversation. Ask them if they would be willing to observe a demonstration. Jake looked at his team. It was a risky idea, but it might be their only chance to prove that music wasn't a weapon. Would you be willing to let us demonstrate that human music is not a weapon? The alien was quiet for a long moment. You wish to conduct acoustic warfare exercises against our personnel? No, Jake said quickly. We want to show you that music doesn't hurt people. It makes them feel good. This is deception, the alien replied. Our research shows humans experience elevated heart rates, increased brain activity, and hormonal changes during exposure to acoustic frequencies. These are clearly signs of biological warfare. Lisa had an idea. What if we showed you the demonstration through video first? You could observe from a safe distance. The alien considered this proposal. You would conduct the acoustic warfare demonstration while we monitor from our ship? Yes, Jake agreed. You can watch everything we do. If anyone gets hurt or acts strange, you can stop the demonstration immediately. After several minutes of silence, the alien spoke again. Very well. We will observe your non-combat demonstration of human acoustic abilities. But any signs of aggressive behavior will result in immediate defensive action. Jake felt both relief and terror. They had convinced the aliens to watch, but what if the Zenthrans still misunderstood what they saw? What if watching humans enjoy music only made them more convinced that it was mind control? There's one more thing, Jake said. For the demonstration, to work properly, we need someone who can play music well. Do any of you have musical training? Tom shook his head. I can't even carry a tune. Lisa smiled slightly. I took piano lessons as a kid, but that was years ago. Dr. Brooks looked thoughtful. Actually, Maya Collins might be able to help. She's our engineer, and I remember her mentioning she played violin in college. Maya Collins had been working in the ship's engine room during the conversation. When they called her to the bridge and explained the situation, she looked terrified. "You want me to play violin for aliens who think music is a weapon?" she asked. "It's our best chance to prevent a war," Jake explained. "These aliens have been planning to attack Earth because they think we're using music to control people. If we can show them that music is harmless, we might be able to change their minds." Maya was quiet for a moment. "I haven't played in years, and I don't have a violin with me." "The ship's fabricator can make one," Lisa suggested. "I can program it with the specifications for a standard violin." "What song should I play?" Maya asked. "Something classical? Something simple?" Jake thought about the alien research files they had found. "Actually, I have an idea. They've been studying a specific song, a violin cover of something called LAMBADA. If you could play that, it might help them understand." Maya nodded slowly. "I remember that song. It's lively and happy. If anything can show them that music brings joy instead of harm, that would be it." As the team prepared for the most important musical performance in human history, Jake looked out at the alien ship. Inside that vessel were beings who had never experienced the simple pleasure of a beautiful song. In a few hours, Maya would try to show them what they had been missing their entire lives: the success or failure of first. Contact with an alien species would depend on a violin and a song about summer and dancing. Maya Collins held the freshly fabricated violin in her trembling hands. The ship's 3D printer had done a perfect job recreating the instrument, but it felt strange and new against her shoulder. She hadn't played violin in over 5 years, not since her college graduation. Now the fate of 2 species might depend on how well she could remember an old song. "Are you ready?" Jake Morrison asked softly. They were standing outside their ship on the red sand of Kepler 442b. The alien vessel loomed nearby, its dark surface reflecting the setting sun. Somewhere inside that ship, the Zenthrans were watching and analyzing everything they did. Maya took a deep breath. "As ready as I'll ever be." Lisa Park was monitoring the alien communications from a portable device. "They have at least 12 different sensors pointed at us," she reported. "They're measuring everything: sound waves, brain activity, heart rates, even the chemical composition of the air around us." Tom Wilson stood at a safe distance, his hands away from his weapons as ordered. Dr. Nathan Brooks had his medical scanner ready, prepared to monitor the team's vital signs during the performance. They wanted to show the aliens that any physical changes in humans during music were natural and harmless. "Remember," Jake said to everyone, "act natural. Don't try to hide your reactions to the music. Let them see that whatever happens to us is positive, not harmful." Maya positioned the violin under her chin and tested the strings. The sound echoed across the empty landscape. Even that simple note made her feel more confident. Music had always been her escape from the technical world of engineering. "The aliens are requesting that we begin the demonstration," Lisa announced. "They want to observe what they call the acoustic warfare deployment sequence." Maya almost laughed despite her nervousness. "Here goes nothing," she said, and began to play. The first notes of Lambada drifted across the alien landscape. Maya's fingers remembered the melody better than she had expected. The song was bright and cheerful, with a rhythm that made her want to sway as she played. She had learned this version from an online video years ago, never imagining she would someday play it for aliens. Jake felt his foot start to tap along with the beat. The melody was infectious, full of warmth and energy. He glanced at his team and saw they were all responding to the music in their own ways. Lisa was smiling, her head nodding gently to the rhythm. Even Tom, who claimed he didn't like music, was relaxing his tense shoulders. Through her portable communicator, Lisa could hear the alien observers talking among themselves. Their translated voices were confused and concerned. The humans are exhibiting physical responses to the acoustic frequencies, one alien said. Heart rates are increasing. Brain activity is elevated in the emotional processing centers. Are they becoming aggressive? Another alien asked. Negative. No signs of aggressive behavior detected. They appeared to be enjoying the experience. Maya played through the melody, her confidence growing with each note. The violin sang beautifully. In the thin air of the alien planet, she closed her eyes and let the music carry her back to happy memories of summer concerts and street festivals. The song made her think of dancing, of laughter, of warm nights and good friends. Dr. Brooks watched his medical scanner with fascination. The teen's vital signs were exactly what he would expect from people listening to enjoyable music. Heart rates were slightly elevated but steady. Brain activity showed increased activity in pleasure centers, and stress hormones were actually decreasing. This is remarkable, he whispered to Jake. The aliens are seeing a real-time demonstration of how music affects human physiology, but they don't understand that these changes are positive. Maya began the second verse of the song, adding small variations to make it more interesting. She opened her eyes and saw her teammates watching her with genuine enjoyment. Tom was actually smiling, something she rarely saw from the serious security officer. Lisa was swaying slightly to the rhythm, and Jake was watching the performance. With obvious pride, the alien communications continued. The human performing the acoustic manipulation appears to be in complete control, one observer noted. The other humans are responding exactly as predicted by our research. But where is the coercion? Another alien asked. Our data suggested the acoustic warfare would force compliance through fear or pain. These humans appear to be experiencing pleasure. Perhaps this is a more advanced form of manipulation than we understood, a third alien suggested. They are being controlled through positive reinforcement rather than negative stimuli. Maya played through the most challenging part of the song, her fingers dancing across the strings. The melody soared and dipped, filled with the kind of emotional expression that made violin music so powerful. She thought about all the street performers she had seen over the years, playing for crowds of strangers, sharing their music freely with anyone who would listen. As she played, something wonderful happened. Her teammates began to move more freely to the music. Lisa started to sway more obviously, her professional composure giving way to natural enjoyment. Dr. Brooks found himself nodding along with the beat. Even Tom began to shift his weight from foot to foot in rhythm with the song. Jake watched his crew and felt a surge of pride in his species. Here they were, millions of miles from Earth, surrounded by aliens who thought music was a weapon, and his people were doing the most human thing possible. They were enjoying a beautiful song together. The human subjects are now moving in coordinated patterns, the alien observers reported. This confirms our hypothesis about acoustic control mechanisms. But their stress indicators are decreasing, not increasing, another alien noted with confusion. If they are being controlled, why do they appear more relaxed rather than more agitated? Maya reached the climax of the song, the melody becoming more complex and expressive. She was fully immersed in the music now, remembering why she had loved playing violin so much. The instrument seemed to sing with its own voice, telling a story of joy and celebration. The alien communications became more puzzled. The performer's own physiological responses are identical to the subject's. If she is wielding a weapon against her companions, why is she experiencing the same effects? One alien said slowly, the effects are not harmful. As Maya played the final notes of LAMBADA, the song faded into the quiet evening air. The team stood in comfortable silence for a moment, all of them feeling the pleasant aftermath of a beautiful musical experience. Maya lowered her violin with a satisfied smile. How do you feel? Jake asked his team, knowing the aliens were recording every word. Happy, Lisa replied simply. Relaxed and happy. The music was beautiful, Dr. Brooks added. It reminded me of summer festivals back home. Tom nodded. I feel ... good. Peaceful, actually. Maya wiped a small tear from her eye. Playing that song brought back so many wonderful memories. Music always makes me feel connected to other people, to happy times in my life. The alien communications had gone completely silent. For several long minutes, there was no sound except the wind blowing across the red landscape. Finally, one alien voice spoke, and for the first time, it sounded uncertain rather than analytical. The acoustic frequencies did not cause harm. The humans experienced pleasure from the sound patterns. Jake stepped forward to address the aliens directly. That's exactly right. We call it music, and we create it because it makes us feel good. It brings us together and helps us express emotions we can't put into words. The aliens were quiet again, and Jake could only imagine the confusion they must be feeling as their entire understanding of human nature began to crumble. The silence stretched for what felt like hours. Jake Morrison and his team stood on the red sand of Kepler 442b, waiting for the aliens to respond to Maya Collins' violin performance. The Zenthran ship remained motionless, its dark hull reflecting the last light of the setting sun. Inside that vessel, an entire species was having their worldview challenged by a simple song. Finally, the communication screen on their portable device flickered to life. The same Zenthran face appeared, but this time its large dark eyes seemed less certain, more confused. We require additional data, the alien announced through the mechanical translator. The demonstration did not match our research predictions. Jake stepped closer to the communication device. What did you observe? The acoustic frequencies produced measurable changes in human physiology, the alien replied. Heart rates increased, brain activity elevated, hormone levels shifted. However, these changes did not result in the expected behavioral modifications. Lisa Park looked up from her scanner. What behavioral modifications were you expecting? The alien paused before answering. Submission, fear, aggressive response, loss of individual decision-making capacity. Instead, the human subjects appeared to experience what your language translates as enjoyment. Dr. Nathan Brooks had been analyzing the team's medical data during the performance. That's because music doesn't hurt us, he explained to the alien. The physical changes you observed are normal responses to pleasurable experiences. When humans enjoy something, our bodies react positively. Impossible. Another alien voice joined the conversation. Our research shows conclusive evidence that humans use acoustic frequencies to manipulate large groups. We have observed thousands of humans responding identically to the same sound patterns. Maya still held her violin, feeling more confident. After the successful performance. You mean concerts and festivals? She asked. People don't go to those events because they're being controlled. They go because they want to hear music they love. Define love, the first alien requested. The human team looked at each other. How do you explain love to beings who eliminated emotions from their society thousands of years ago? Jake tried his best. Love is a strong positive emotion. When humans love something, it makes them happy. It makes them want to experience it again and share it with others. Emotions cause inefficiency, the alien stated. Emotions lead to poor decision-making and social disorder. This is why the Zenthran Collective eliminated emotional responses from our species. Dr. Brooks stepped forward. But emotions also create beauty, art, music, and connections between people. Without emotions, how do you find meaning in your lives? Meaning is found through logical analysis and efficient completion of tasks, the alien replied. Emotional responses serve no practical purpose. Lisa had been studying the alien communication patterns during their conversation. "I think I understand the problem," she said to Jake quietly. "They've been observing human behavior for years, but they've been interpreting everything through their own logical framework. They can't understand that humans might choose to do things just because those things feel good." Captain Helen Garcia's voice came through the radio from her hidden ship. "Morrison, I've been monitoring the conversation. Ask them about their observations of human children." Jake nodded. "You mentioned studying humans for many years. Have you observed human children interacting with music?" The alien was quiet for a moment. "Yes, human juveniles show even stronger responses to acoustic frequencies than adults. We classified them as highly susceptible to acoustic manipulation." Maya laughed despite the serious situation. "You mean kids dancing to music? Children love music even more than adults do. They dance and sing because it makes them feel happy. No one is controlling them." "But the responses are so predictable," another alien voice argued. "Play certain frequencies, and human juveniles will move in specific patterns. Play different frequencies, and they become calm or excited. This is clear evidence of behavioral control." "It's not control," Dr. Brooks explained patiently. "It's a natural response. Music affects our emotions, and emotions affect our behavior. But we choose to listen to music because we enjoy how it makes us feel." The alien communications fell silent again. Jake could imagine the Zentrans trying to process this new information. Their entire understanding of humanity was built on the assumption that emotions were weapons, rather than experiences people sought out for pleasure. After several minutes, a new alien voice joined the conversation. This one sounded younger, less certain than the others. "Senior researchers," the new voice said, "I have been analyzing the acoustic patterns from the demonstration. The frequencies do not match any known weapon signatures in our database." "Explain," the first alien commanded. "The sound patterns are mathematically complex but harmonious. They follow natural mathematical relationships that appear in many non-threatening phenomena throughout the galaxy. Additionally, the human subject's biological responses match patterns we have observed in other species during positive experiences." Jake felt a spark of hope. At least one of the aliens seemed to be questioning their assumptions. Furthermore, the young alien continued, "I have been reviewing our observational data of human behavior during acoustic events. The subjects consistently seek out these experiences voluntarily. They often pay resources to attend them. They travel great distances to participate. This does not match the behavior pattern of being subjected to warfare." "Silence, junior researchers X-47, the senior alien commanded. "Your analysis lacks proper context." But junior researchers X-47 continued, "Senior researchers, I believe we may have misunderstood the human species. What if acoustic frequencies are not weapons, but rather a form of ... pleasure technology?" The other aliens began speaking rapidly among themselves in their own language. The translation system couldn't keep up with their discussion, but Jake could hear the confusion and debate in their voices. Maya had an idea. "Would you like me to play something different?" she offered. "I could play a sad song, or a gentle song, or an exciting song. You could observe how the same humans react differently to different types of music." "That would be excellent data," the young alien said before the senior researchers could object. Maya raised her violin again and played a slow, beautiful melody. This time, the teens' responses were quieter, more thoughtful. Lisa found herself thinking about home. Tom's expression softened as he remembered something from his past. Jake felt a peaceful calm wash over him. The alien observers recorded everything. The acoustic frequencies are different, and the human responses have changed accordingly, X-47 reported. But again, no signs of distress or coercion. The subjects appear to be experiencing what humans call contemplation. Next, Maya played. a fast, energetic tune. Immediately, the team began moving more actively. Lisa started tapping her foot. Dr. Brooks found himself smiling broadly. Even Tom began to nod his head to the beat. "Remarkable," Zex-47 said. "The humans are responding to different acoustic patterns with different emotional states, but all responses appear to be voluntary and positive." The senior alien researchers were quiet for a long time. Finally, the first alien spoke again, and its voice sounded different somehow, less certain. "We have observed humanity for 47 standard years," it said slowly. "We have documented extensive evidence of acoustic manipulation capabilities. We have prepared defensive strategies against human emotional warfare. But if humans do not use these capabilities as weapons, then you've been preparing for a war that was never coming." Jake finished gently. The weight of that realization seemed to hang in the air between the two species, as 47 years of fear and misunderstanding finally began to crumble. 3 hours had passed since Maya Collins' first violin performance. The red sky of Kepler 442b had turned to deep purple, and 2 small moons cast silver light across the alien landscape. Jake Morrison and his team sat on the warm sand near, their ship waiting as the Zenthrans debated among themselves inside their vessel. "Do you think we convinced them?" Lisa Park asked quietly. She had been monitoring the alien communications, but most of their discussion was happening in their own language, beyond the translator's ability to process. "I hope so," Jake replied. "But 47 years of believing something is hard to change in one evening." Maya tuned her violin strings, preparing for what might be their final demonstration. The Zenthrans had requested one more performance, but this time they wanted to try something different. Junior researcher Zex-47 had convinced the senior researchers to allow a direct observation. "Are you certain about this?" Dr. Nathan Brooks asked Jake for the 3rd time. "Letting them come out of their ship is a big risk." "Everything we've done today has been a risk," Jake answered. "But it's the only way to make them truly understand." Captain Helen Garcia's voice crackled through their radio. "Morrison, I have 3 ships standing by just beyond the planet's atmosphere. If anything goes wrong, we can be there in minutes." "Understood, Captain, but I don't think we'll need backup." The door of the Zenthran ship opened with a soft hiss. 3 figures emerged, walking slowly across the sand toward the human team. They were tall and thin, exactly as Jake had seen through his binoculars earlier. Their gray uniforms covered everything except their large dark eyes, which reflected the moonlight like mirrors. The lead figure stopped about 10 feet away from the humans. When it spoke, a small device on its chest translated the words into English. "I am Senior Researcher Kex Prime," the alien announced. "These are Junior Researcher Zex-47 and Observation Specialist Dex-12. We come to conduct direct analysis of human acoustic behavior." Jake stood up and walked slowly toward the aliens, his hands visible and empty. "Welcome to our camp. I'm Lieutenant Jake Morrison. Thank you for agreeing to observe closely." Senior Researcher Kex Prime's large eyes studied Jake carefully. "We must warn you that any attempt to use acoustic manipulation against Zenthran personnel will result in immediate defensive action." "We understand," Jake replied. "But I promise you, the only thing that will happen is music." Junior Researcher Zex-47 stepped forward slightly. Jake could see this alien was smaller than the others, probably younger. "I have reviewed all of our observational data from the past 47 years, Zex-47 said. "I have found 2,847 instances where humans voluntarily sought out acoustic experiences, often paying resources to do so. This behavior is inconsistent with forced manipulation." Senior Researcher Kex Prime made a sound that the translator couldn't interpret. "Your analysis lacks proper context, Zex-47. With respect, senior researcher, Zex-47 continued, I believe our context has been incorrect. We have been interpreting human behavior through our own logical framework, but humans operate on different principles. Maya stood up with her violin, ready to begin the demonstration. Before I play, may I ask you something? When you eliminated emotions from your species, did you also eliminate your appreciation for beauty? The three aliens looked at each other. Beauty is an inefficient concept, Kex Prime replied. It serves no logical purpose. But do you understand mathematical harmony? Dr. Brooks asked. Do you appreciate elegant equations or perfect geometric patterns? Zex-47 answered quickly. Yes, mathematical elegance is the foundation of our scientific advancement. Maya smiled. Music is mathematical harmony expressed through sound. The relationships between notes follow the same principles as the mathematical patterns you find. Elegant. She raised her violin and began to play, but this time she chose something different. Instead of the lively lambada, she played a simple, pure melody based on mathematical harmonies. The notes followed patterns that demonstrated the golden ratio, the Fibonacci sequence, and other natural mathematical relationships. The effect on the human team was immediate. Even though the melody was simpler than the previous songs, it had a profound beauty that touched something deep in their minds. Lisa found herself thinking about the structure of the universe. Tom felt a sense of peace and order. Jake was reminded of looking at the stars and feeling connected to something larger than himself. But more importantly, something unexpected happened to the aliens. Junior researcher Zex-47 began to tremble slightly. Its large eyes grew even wider, and it took a step closer to Maya without seeming to realize it. A mathematical beauty of the music was reaching something in the young alien's mind that had never been touched before. The acoustic patterns, Zex-47 whispered. They follow perfect mathematical relationships. The harmonies are ... Beautiful? Maya suggested gently, still playing. I do not understand this sensation, Zex-47 said, its voice filled with confusion and wonder. The mathematical elegance of the sound patterns is causing unexpected neural activity in my brain. Senior researcher Kex Prime stepped back in alarm. Zex-47, you are experiencing emotional contamination. Return to logical analysis immediately. But Zex-47 couldn't stop listening. For the first time in its life, the young alien was experiencing something beyond pure logic. The mathematical beauty of Maya's music was awakening feelings that the Zenthran species had thought they had eliminated forever. I want to hear more, Zex-47 admitted. The acoustic patterns are creating a sensation I have never experienced. It is not unpleasant. It is satisfying in a way that completing tasks or solving equations has never been. Maya finished the mathematical melody and lowered her violin. That's what humans call aesthetic appreciation. It's the ability to find joy in beauty, whether it's music, art, or even elegant mathematics. Observation specialist Dex-12 had been recording everything with various devices. Senior researcher, it reported, Zex-47's brain activity shows patterns we have never observed in our species. The acoustic stimulation has activated neural pathways that have been dormant for thousands of years. Kex Prime looked at its younger colleague with something that might have been concern. Zex-47, report your current status. I am changed, Zex-47 replied slowly. I understand now why humans seek out these acoustic experiences. They are not being controlled or manipulated. They are choosing to experience beauty because beauty itself has value. Jake stepped forward carefully. This is what we've been trying to explain. Humans don't use music as a weapon. We create and share music because it connects us to beauty, to each other, and to emotions that make life worth living. For a long moment, the aliens were silent. Then senior researcher Kex Prime made a decision that would change the relationship between their species forever. "We have made an error," Kex Prime announced. "Our analysis of human acoustic behavior was fundamentally flawed. We interpreted your capacity for emotional expression as a threat when it is actually a gift." "Does this mean you won't attack Earth?" Lisa asked hopefully. "There will be no attack," Kex Prime confirmed. "Instead, we propose cultural exchange. We wish to learn more about human concepts of beauty and artistic expression. And perhaps it is time for the Zenthran Collective to reconsider our rejection of emotional experience." Zex-47 looked at Maya with its large, now wondering eyes. "Would you teach me to create these mathematical sound patterns?" Maya smiled and held out her violin. "Music is meant to be shared. I'd be honored to teach you." As the young alien carefully took the violin, Jake realized they had done something remarkable. They hadn't just prevented a war between species. They had introduced an entire civilization to the concept of beauty for its own sake. The Zenthrans had spent thousands of years believing that logic and efficiency were the only things that mattered. But a simple violin melody had shown them there was more to existence than mere survival. Under the light of 2 alien moons, a human engineer began teaching a young alien researcher how to make music. It was the beginning of a friendship between species, built on the universal language of mathematical harmony and the simple human truth that some things are worth doing just because they are beautiful. The war that never should have been was over before it began, ended not by weapons or diplomacy, but by the power of a song to touch hearts across the vast differences between species.